Hi guys, so today we will be dealing with square roots with variables. So before under the radical sign, we only saw numbers like square root of 75, square root of 12, square root of 600. Today we will be looking at the situations when there are variables under the square root as well. So we'll be going over this worksheet and the back of it. And you will be responsible to write everything down what I'm talking about on the video and solve the problems that I'm not talking about on the video, but they're still on the worksheet. So I expect you to have your name on your worksheet on top. If you don't have your name on the top of your worksheet, you will not get the full credit. I also need you to show me all the work. Okay, I just don't need the answers. The answer is not going to give you, the answers only will not give you any good grade. Okay, so we all want hundreds and we can get them if we just put some work into it. And then so this worksheet will be due on Tuesday. So you have Monday and Tuesday to complete it. And then I will post this worksheet that will be due on Wednesday. And this worksheet is it's the same skills from what I'm going to explaining right now. So let's start. So if you are given a radical and there is a variable under the radical and that variable has a power, okay? So it's a to the power m under the radical, okay? So there can be two situations. M can be multiple of 2, like a squared, a to the 4th power, a to the 6th power, a to the 8th power, or m could be an odd number, which is not multiple of 2. So if m is a multiple of 2, we're going to use the following rule. All we're going to do is going to put a, it equals a, and then we're going to put a fraction m over 2, and it's going to be the power of a in the end. Okay, and then if we are dealing with the situation when m is not a multiple of 2, which is odd number, we are going to break this apart. And that's how we're going to break it apart. A to the m minus 1 times a. And I do understand that it might be not clear a little bit because it can just cause some confusion, but I'm just going to give you an example right away so you can see it, like 2 examples for the first case and for the second case. For example, and this is not from this worksheet, I'm just making stuff up, okay? So if it's a to the 4th power under the radical, all right? So all you have to do, you have to put a, and then this 4 goes on top of the fraction, and the number from right here, which we don't see any number, but we do know that it's 2. Index is 2, so 2 goes on the bottom. So index goes on the bottom. And then we do understand that 4 divided by 2 is 2. So it's a squared. That would be the answer. In case a is to the 5th power, and we do know that 5 is not multiple of 2, what we have to do, we're going to split. We're going to break it apart. So a to the 5th power is actually a to the 4th power times a to the 1st power, which is just an a. We are going to take the square root of this a to the 4th power, and that's how we're going to do it. We're going to put a, 4 from here goes on the top, and then 2 from right here goes on the bottom of the fraction. And then only a stays under the radical, okay? So we know that 4 over 2 is 2, so a squared, square root of a. So maybe it clarified a little bit this. You see, m minus 1 is actually, if your m is 5, m minus 1 is actually 4, because 4 is 5 minus 1. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the problems on the worksheet, starting from the first one. Okay, number 1, square root of x squared. So we're dealing with the first rule because 2 is the multiple of 2, okay? So it's x to this power 2 over 2. 2 from here, 2 from there. So it's x. The answer is x. Number 3, square root of 9k squared. So this is just a number. Square root of 9 is 3. And then k to the power 2 over 2. So it's actually 3k to the first power because 2 over 2 is 1. Number 5, square root of 100 x squared y squared, and everything is under the square root. Square root of 100 is 10. 10. I said 10 and I wrote down 100. So it's 10 x to this power 2 over 2 y 2 over 2. So the final answer is 100. I just keep writing down the 100. No, it's not 100, it's 10, okay? So I say 10 and then I write down the 100. So don't do that. Please don't take this. Don't do it. Don't do what I do. Okay, guys? So the answer is 10xy. That's the answer. Number 7, square root of y to the 5th power. So now we're dealing with this situation when m is not a multiple of 2 because 5 is not a multiple of 2. So we're going to break this apart. Y to the 5th power is actually y to the 4th times y to the 1st. We're just skipping the 1. We know that it's 1. So it's y 4 over 2. 4 goes on the top. 2 from right here goes on the bottom of the fraction. And then square root of y. And we do know that 4 over 2 is 2. Square root of y is the answer. And then number 9, square root of x squared, y to the 3rd, z to the 4th. Here we have 3 variables, x, y, and z. X has even variable, y has odd variable, and z has even variable. So we don't have to break x and y and z variable anyhow, and we do have to break apart the y to the 3rd power. So all we have to do right here is we're going to take square root of x squared, which is this, and then take square root of z to the 4th power. And then here we have y to the 2nd power times y. We just broke this y to the 3rd power apart. Okay, here we can simplify. It's x z to the 2nd power, and we can take the square root of y to the 2nd power. It's y because y 2 over 2 means 1, right? So it's y to the 1st power. And then we just have this y left inside of the radical. Number 11. Square root of 81 r to the 7th power s to the 4th power. So here it's clear. I'm going to take square root of 81. It's 9. And then I'm going to break this r to the 7th apart. So it's going to be r to the 6th times r. And then I'm just going to leave s to the 4th power alone. So 9 square root of r to the 6th power is going to be this, 6 over 2, and then s 4 over 2. And then square root of r, because we cannot take the square root of r. Okay, so it stays under. So we're going to simplify it this way. 6 over 2 is 3, 4 over 2 is 2, square root of r. So this is my final answer. I'm going to turn the page to see what's going on. Number 13. Square root of 8x to the 6th power. Here, I'm going to break 8 apart like we did in the previous lesson. So it's 4 times 2. One of them is a perfect square. The other one is whatever is left. And then x to the 6th power. I'm going to take the square root of 4. It's 2. Square root of x to the 6th power is x to the 3rd because 6 over 2 is 3. And then square root of 2 and 2 is going to stay under the radical. So this is your final answer for number 13. Number 15. Square root of 68p to the 5th power. So let's figure out what we're going to do here. Well, we are going to break 68 apart. And 68 is 4 times 17. And then p to the 5th is going to be broken apart. Just like this. P to the 4th times p. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of p to the 4th power is p squared. And then 17p is going to stay under the square root. All right, I'm going to go over the 17th. So it's almost over for me. Number 17. Square root of 27 x y to the 16th power. Okay? So 27 is going to be broken apart as 9 times 3 x y to the 16th power. We can take the square root of 9, it's 3. We can take the square root of y to the 16th power. That's the way we're going to do it. 16 from here goes on top, and then 2, invisible 2 goes on the bottom. So we cannot take the square root of x, so x is going to stay under the square root, and then 3 is going to stay under the square root. All we have to do, we just have to simplify y, 3y to the 8th power, square root of 3x. Number 19, square root of 160, a to the 3rd, b to the 6th. So I'm going to break apart 160 as 16 and 10. A to the 3rd will be broken apart as a squared times a, and then b to the 6th will be left alone. I can take the square root of 16 and it's 4. I can take a square root of a to the 2nd power and it's a. Square root of b to the 6th power is b to the 3rd. And all I have to do, I just have to write down everything I have left that I didn't take the square root of. 10 and then a. So 10a inside of the radical. Under the radical. So number 21 is 72 m to the 9th, n to the 12th, p to the 2nd. And then 72 can be broken apart as 36 times 2. 36 times 2, of course, under the radical, then nothing happened to that. M to the 9th power will be broken apart as m to the 8th, m to the 1st. N to the 12th is left alone, p to the 2nd left alone. So we're going to simplify it. Square root of 36 is 6. Square root of m to the 8th is m to the 4th. Square root of n to the 12th is n to the 6th. And then whatever I didn't underline, I'm going to circle. Okay, I didn't take the square root of p squared, so it's p. So I'm underlining this. So whatever I circled was not... Like we didn't take the square root of any of these and it's not possible. So we're just going to put it under the square root. And the final one in this video will be number 23, 252xy squared z to the 3rd. And 252 is going to be broken apart as 36 times 7. 36 is a perfect square. X will be left alone. Y squared will be left alone. Z to the 3rd power will be broken apart as z squared times z. Square root of 36 is 6. Square root of y squared is the y. Square root of z squared is z. And then whatever I didn't talk about will be under the square root. So 7x and z will be under the square root. So that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Again, you're supposed to have your name on your worksheets. You have to write down all the work that I'm writing down, and then the problems that I didn't solve on this video, you have to solve on your own, showing me the work. Okay, that's how you're going to get 100. Okay, thank you.